Hello, welcome to Open Oven. My name is Mike Smith. We're going to do a really cool recipe today. Again, I'm not a chef, I'm just a guy who likes to cook. I'm going to try to show you some things and some recipes you might find interesting. You can see today we have our salmon sitting here. We're going to do grilled salmon with a marinade, and we're going to have some grilled zucchini to go with that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make a marinade, and we're going to go through that. We're just going to do the marinade first. Once we have the marinade done, we'll put the fish in. Again, with like most marinades, if you have a marinade you're happy with or that you like using, go ahead and use that. You want to have a little bit of kind of both things. So you need that little bit of oil, you need a little bit of sweet, and then you need some type of soy sauce, vinegar, something like that. So what we have is we have 1/3 cup of soy sauce. I'm going to start with that. A cup of water. That's just going to give us a little extra. I'm going to do that a little bit short. A cup of brown sugar. I'm going to mix that in there just because this definitely, you need this to dissolve. Growing up, we didn't actually eat a lot of fish in our family. When we did it, it was always fried. I didn't start kind of really grilling or baking fish until, adulthood, for lack of a better word. But grilling fish is fantastic. Again, you got to stir this quite well. You want all of that sugar to dissolve. And I'm stirring it in what I'm going to actually put it, what we're going to marinate with and what we're going to put it in the fridge. You could do this in a bowl and then put it into a resealable plastic bag. I'm going to use a plastic container, something that works well in the refrigerator. So take your time and really kind of stir that sugar. You don't want your fish, after you're marinated, you don't want it stuck with pieces of sugar on it. And lastly, we're going to go with 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I'm going to use olive oil. I'm going to do a little short of that 1/3. Put that in there. And then again, stir that very well. And you can see, if you look at it, you'll see if you have granules of sugar. Doesn't seem to be too much there, so most of it looks like it's dissolved pretty nicely. I've used regular brown sugar. You can use, if you want to use stevia brown sugar, you're going to use about half the amount of sugar. If you're worried about adding carbs, Again, I'm diabetic myself, so I'm always conscious of what I'm using for sugar. Just going to set that aside for a second. I knew that the spoon was going to drop in there. Set that there. And then salmon, I'm going to salt and pepper that a little bit. We're going to add some lemon before we marinate it. Now it should soak in a little bit. And I'm just going to pat that down a little bit just so that, because we're going to marinate this, to see if we can get it into the grains of the fish a little bit. It's a nice, thick, healthy looking piece of salmon. As you can see, we have our grill today, so we're going to use an indoor grill, which works fantastic. I've used this type of grill many times for lots of things. That works fantastic, and it heats up really, really nice and fast. And you know what, I'm going to just cut that right on the plate. So I'm going to cut it in half. Obviously that makes, you know, two pretty good sized portions. And then we're going to, let me grab a, and we're going to put that in the marinade. Like so. Should be able to handle both pieces in there. Let's move that aside. And what I'll do before we close it up is I'll turn it around a couple times. Get it nice and soaked. This is a real nice looking piece of fish. Maybe one more flip. Whoops. I told you I do make a little bit of a mess. Clean my mess a little bit. All right. And so you're going to take that and you're going to refrigerate that for about 2 hours. Obviously you can do it shorter, but a good 2 hours, and then you're going to take it out and we'll finish up. We'll be right back and I'll show you where we're going to go next. Welcome back to Open Oven. We've got our salmon marinated. It's been in the fridge for the wonders of television. It's been in the fridge for 2 hours. We don't have 2 hours to marinate. And so it's pretty much ready to go on the grill. I'm going to turn the grill on high, get this electric grill nice and hot to begin with. We'll probably turn that down a little bit. We're looking to grill salmon. We don't want it on too high because obviously you don't want to burn the top of it. Somewhere around 6-7 minutes per side should do it. And so we're going to get that on there in a second. And I told you we're going to do some zucchini. I want to just lightly oil that grill a little bit. I don't have my brush handy, so we'll just do it the old-fashioned way, and we'll make use of this zucchini. You can see it's sizzling, so you know it's getting hot. All right. And if I put it on and it looks like it's going to sear it really, really, really quickly, we can always just turn it down a little bit. So that should be good. We're going to do the meat side down first, so the skin will be up. We don't want to put that excess marinade on that, so shake it out, get some of that excess marinade off before you put it on the grill. The marinade is supposed to be for a marinade, not a sauce. A little high probably, so I'm going to turn that down a bit. That's a great looking piece of fish. There we go. I was going to wipe my apron, but I got some paper towel. We'll do it a little bit easier. So, while that's going, we're going to start to get our zucchini ready. And we're going to actually grill the zucchini on the electric grill with the rest of it. I'll usually do, remember, if you cut them thick, it's going to take a little bit longer. You're not really, with zucchini, if you make it thin enough, you're just really just grilling it pretty quickly. It doesn't take very long. If you're like half-inch sliced, if you want to cut those in half again, which is what I'll do, that's generally what we're going to work towards. Again, I'm making, enough for 2 people. Obviously, if you have a bigger family and you want to go to zucchini that size, you can. But we're going to kind of assume that we're doing this for 2 people. All right. I'm not going to put that on there, obviously, until we get a little closer with the fish. I'll move it around a little bit just to make sure it's not sticking. And that's already starting to look really, 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 really cool. You want to get kind of a look at that. It's starting to look like a grilled fish. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cut these in half, like I said. And again, there's a number of different things you can do with grilled zucchini. You don't have to do a lot. They're going to cook relatively quick. You don't want them overcooked. You don't want them soggy. You want a little bit of hardness to them, for lack of a better word. I'm putting them in the bowl just so that we can kind of put a little bit of mixture in there. I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil, maybe a teaspoon. And I'm going to use a little bit of butter. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way. If it's softened, obviously that's a little bit easier to use. And we're going to get our hands dirty. We're going to mix that up. Get a little bit of butter in there. Again, anytime you're using butter on anything that's being grilled, you have to know that butter will burn. So you can't be doing it on high temperature. You got to be careful. So just kind of mix that up a little bit with butter. And then you can season it however you like to season it. Let's take a look at our fish. That looks wonderful. A little bit blackened. Add a little more pepper. And once the fish is completed, we'll put the zucchini on the grill literally for about a minute on a high grill, and you're ready to eat. You could put lemon pepper on here. We can put some dill on if we like to. However you want to spice it up. We're going to be back right away, and we'll finish up our fish and we'll eat. And we're back. All right, the fish is coming along nicely. Again, we're doing salmon. This would work perfectly well with any other type of fish. Mahi-mahi, I've had grilled mahi-mahi. This part of the world, not the cheapest choice, but fantastic version. I'm gonna flip that. And you can see we got some nice, I would like to see the side. That is looking really great. And that's got some of that marinade in there. And remember, we used the lemon and the salt and pepper, and then we marinated it in that mix of brown sugar. Again, a third soy sauce, a third brown sugar, 1/3 of water just to give it a little bit more liquid, and about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. That's what we did our marinade with. Reseal it. In this case, we used a plastic container, but you can use a resealable bag. In the fridge for a couple of hours. Like anything you're marinating, if you don't have a couple of hours, put it in for as long as you can keep it there. The longer you leave it, obviously, the richer the taste. We used brown sugar. Again, back to that, if you don't want the fish to have that much of a sweet taste, you can back off on the brown sugar, but everything else should work for what we're looking for. I just want to make sure our heat is still there. Again, this grill is really, really cool. If you have one of these, a lot of the oil and the fat will run down the sides, and it's really easy. It's got a drip tray underneath, really easy to clean, and heats up really, really fast, which is nice. Okay. I was telling you earlier, I didn't make a lot of fish when we were a kid. Most of what we had for fish when I was a kid was fish and chips, but this and salmon is obviously all the health benefits of salmon. And I'm going to just take a peek at that. If you want to, I don't want to say overcook the fish, but if you're somebody who wants to, needs to make sure the fish is overly cooked, you could tent this. You could take tin foil. You could tent it if you're going to use an open air grill like this. Obviously, if you do this in the oven, you could do the exact same recipe in the oven. If you wanted to bake it and put it in a baking pan with a lid, you might get a better little bit more complete cook. I'm just going to leave that for another minute or two. It looks like it's coming along. And again, it's a pretty thick piece, so it is possible that we might, if you wanted to speed up the process, you could tent it and then it would cook it a little bit quicker and a little bit more thoroughly. I'm going to grab a, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to give that about 30 more seconds, and I'm going to flip it back again. I just want to flip it back over onto the meaty side one more time. Again, because it's open air, we want to make sure that it has some heat go back onto the other side. Normally, when you're doing steak or fish, you're told, oh, you only grill it on one side. But in this case, like I said, we have an open air grill. So I'm going to flip that back over one more time. Just make sure we've got heat. And it's starting to look like what it's supposed to look like. You'll know when it's done, again, like any fish. If you start to flake it, it should come apart fairly easily. Looks like we're getting there. And if you're brave, you can just try it, you'll know. Getting close. We're almost there. Again, so I've got zucchini with the butter and the olive oil. I just put salt and pepper. We're going to grill it up real quickly, and we should be ready to roll. Put that on there. I'm just going to give the grill a real quick wipe, and we should be ready to go. It's almost like you almost want a stir-fried effect. You want a real quick grill on these. And if you wanted to completely take the grill off, clean it, and put it back on, you can do that. I mean, you're eating fish.